There were also a couple of announcements from our good friend, Treasurer Jim Chalmers. Red tape is still the hot topic of the Parliament. The Treasurer has announced that government will be introducing regulatory reform to reduce red tape and ease burden on businesses. Now, we've talked about how the government's planning to cut environmental red tape. And to me, cutting environmental red tape sounds a little bit sinister, just, making it easier to cut down these native habitats for development. But what does cutting business red tape mean?
Yeah, it's kind of what Jim Chalmers is doing, and it came out of their productivity roundtables and their tax roundtable that they had a couple months ago now, is kind of what we're talking about with, government should waive the productivity bond. If we get rid of all this red tape with taxation, business taxation, suddenly productivity is going to take off.
Yeah.
And it's mostly a load of crap.
Say it with your full chest.
It's the type of thing we've seen the Australia Industry Group and others come out, this is a wonderful thing because there's so many micro taxes, apparently. What they're really talking about here, the main one is payroll tax, which all businesses have to pay once their payroll goes above certain thresholds, and they have to pay a certain rate. Problem is those thresholds and rates are different in each state.
Oh, okay.
And so if you're a business that employs people in different states, you got to deal with that. And that's an issue. Good luck telling the states that they have to change one of their main revenue streams. So have fun doing that. But also they're complaining about other taxes that they say, they don't raise much money. They're just a nuisance. And to be honest, some of these taxes, that's their whole point. For example, there'll be things like parking space levies. Where businesses have to pay a levy per parking space. So this is something in New South Wales. And it doesn't raise a lot of tax, and it's meant to be annoying because it's trying to get rid of congestion in Sydney. And it's trying to say, we'd actually much rather public transport and other things. So as Richard Dennis, our boss, often says, subsidise the things you like, tax the things you hate. And some of these taxes are taxing things that state governments want to stop, such as congestion in capital cities and so forth. So, it might be annoying that you have to pay it, but just because it's annoying and doesn't raise a stonking great amount of tax doesn't specifically mean it's a big thing. And also, really, you're saying this is going to unlock productivity. Just because you don't like paying it, I don't like having to pay for parking in the CBD. But
I think I'd be a lot more
don't
productive.
go around going, that's a micro tax that, if you got rid of it, I'd be a lot more productive in my
Free
operations.
me from this red tape.
It's a bit of that, but really when you get down to it, they're talking payroll tax. And it probably would be nice if that was all harmonized. But
is the federal government able to do that if it is?
They're able to get the states together and say we should agree in principle to think about maybe one day harmonizing our payroll tax rates. This is not a new thing.
Yeah.
And as I say, it goes back to the problem, and this also flows into things like the GST, is states don't have many abilities to raise revenue. Basically, it's payroll tax for many is their big one. Stamp duty is another. And if you're saying, let's harmonise these things, that sounds great. Are you all going to raise them up to the top one, or are you going to say, New South Wales, you've got to cut yours a bit. South Australia, you also have to go, this is the thing. Unless you're raising them all, and I doubt very much that business groups are going to be thinking, that's what we were actually hoping.
That'll cut the red tape.
Yeah, it'll cut the red tape, but they won't like it. So that's where you're going to find, there'll be recommendations for this, but whether it's going to happen, good luck.
Wow, great.
Try hard.
Sounds
they can aim, but I think it's just one of those things that comes out of the fact that we're a federation. We have different states, and we have a central government, and unless you're going to make the central government the only one that can raise revenue, you're going to have different rates across state borders, and That will be annoying for businesses that operate across state borders. But,
I mean, if a business is big enough to operate across state borders,
yeah.
can they afford to hire an accountant?
Well, I mean, we have businesses complaining about, having to pay overtime and how onerous it is knowing what overtime rates you're paying and saying that is almost a cost to their business. And it's a case of, well, maybe you need to invest in your HR and payroll systems to ensure that you can do this, or actually maybe just talk to some unions because they're pretty good at knowing what are the rates of pay at various times of the week. So long story short, businesses hate paying tax, always think they should be paying less tax and should be paying fewer of them. And the government is basically saying, yes, this would be a wonderful thing, kind of going to their whole abundance agenda thing of, if we get rid of this red tape, we'll unleash productivity. It's like, really, we're going to get rid of parking space levies and that's been what's holding back productivity? I don't think so. All it's about is reducing costs for businesses.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to keep up to date with all our latest research and work, sign up to our newsletter. Delivered every fortnight, it includes behind-the-scenes updates from Richard Dennis, an exclusive cartoon from Judy Horacek, details for our upcoming events and webinars, as well as explainers, graphs, and not to mention the latest cutting-edge research and analysis from the team here on the key issues that are facing Australia. Click the button on your screen to check it out.